Well, our whole assessment process is built around certain skill sets that we are testing, and therefore we're looking for them to have in greater or lesser degree. I mean, essentially one of those is the ones I mentioned to you, an ability to work well with people, because we are entirely a service industry, servicing clients, and we have to be able to work well with them as people, as well as to understand what they're trying to achieve commercially. So I suppose that marries two things. There's the keenness to work with people and to achieve a result for them, but also to take an interest in and really enjoy getting to know the commercial context in which clients are operating in. But the other skills are good communication skills, being able to be articulate orally as well as in writing, which is particularly important as a lawyer. Intellect, but that I think good top graduates obviously clearly possess, although I think there's a difference between academic standards and actually true intelligence and being able to use common sense and to use judgement, and that's something I think is really important in any field of life actually, but is particularly important as a lawyer. The application form itself is geared around getting the students themselves to demonstrate those skills by the questions that are asked and then the replies that they give. And particularly, obviously, to demonstrate their motivation for this particular career. And then those are assessed through the interview, which is designed to test all those different attributes of the way that the additional tests are constructed, which are basically a group test, and a verbal reasoning test also tests some or all of those components. I suppose, as with a lot of career, self-confidence has got to be an important trait, because I think fundamentally if you lack self-confidence over time, it's very difficult to really achieve, and to achieve under pressure and to give it your best. If there is a gap in sort of commercial knowledge, to a point some of that is learnt. I think the interview process again is designed to test those who thought about the commercial context from those who haven't, and if some have not given any thought at all, they're probably unlikely to get as far as being offered a job. So I think we recognise that we've got a lot of good and highly talented people who've got lots of good raw material, really, is what I was going to say, and it's our job to obviously to train and develop that. So I think it's more a question of attitude sometimes, but I think it's really doing the research to find out what a job really entails, to think about that in the context of what you would have to do if you landed that role, but more particularly whether you're suited for it. Most universities that we see a lot of have law societies, or if there are colleges, they have their own law societies. Now, I'd have thought if you're seriously thinking about the law, that's a good place to start joining, because so many societies operate talks, lectures, firms come and visit, they do skill sessions. It's a perfect way to talk to people, ask questions, find out much more, participate in things which are often going to be of huge benefit, because you learn a lot more about the application process, what sort of skills are being looked for, but also, perhaps when we do things like operate negotiation skills sessions or some case studies, you just learn a lot more about what the commercial side of the law is like in practice. I don't know if there's an advantage of having studied law academically, because I don't think we've ever noticed the difference when trainees join us. So, and I don't think we've sought to test that either, because you learn so much on the job, and completely new areas of law, obviously, become exposed to, which you haven't been exposed to academically, as well as ways of working and sort of commercial realities. So, actually, of course, what you're doing is going back to base one, you're taking its skills you have, and some of those courses that you've studied would have developed certain skills more than others, or taken you different paths more than others. And I think probably what you're doing as an art law student is using some of that. But you could equally be a law student who's been a really keen debater, or has been a keen sort of student of archaeology on the side, and is bringing another skill to it. So I think, I don't think actually what you've studied is hugely relevant. And I think, just if I can say about attitude, I'm not saying people have got a poor attitude. I think it's sometimes it's a mismatch of expectation, what the student thinks they are going to get from the realities of what work life is about. And I think this may be a danger in the law, it may be a danger in other areas. Some people see a training contract as a further extension of their student training experience, whereas actually it's the start of professional life. And I think some people are sort of saying, oh, well, I'll do a 2-year training contract, then I'll decide whether this is the career for me, which is sort of fine, but actually it's not the right way to start.